Alright, so I am doing this one a little bit different today. My Finish Line has those Chicago split dunk lows in stock, and I'm going to take my lunch break, go pick up a pair. So let's go. Got one of my favorite fours of all time on feet. Alright, so I'm back from grabbing my pair from Finish Line. If it weren't for having that Finish Line store nearby, I probably wouldn't have half the content that I put up for y'all. So shout out to Finish Line, they always come through. We got a standard box, nothing out of the ordinary there. The tag reads Nike Dunk Low Retro Premium. The colors are University Red and Black. I went with my true to size like I always do on Dunk Lows and got a size 10. The retail price on these was $120 US. And getting right into it, I like these. I like these a whole lot. I'm going to compare these to the 75th anniversary Chicago Dunk Lows here in a minute, just to show you some similarities. There's actually a lot more differences in these than what I thought there was going to be, and holding them side by side, you can definitely tell that they're a lot different from each other. But aside from that, just going back to these shoes, I think these are awesome. I really, really like them. One thing that I noticed too, as soon as I got them in hand, the leather on these, although it still does feel synthetic, it's a lot softer than the leather on standard GR Dunks. This one is considered a premium, and it does seem like the materials are slightly better than what we usually get on GR Dunks. I can't lie and act like they're buttery or anything like that, but materials are actually decent on these, and not that super fake hard plastic feeling stuff that we usually get. So I was happy to see that. Another thing that I didn't realize is that the midsole is sail and the tongue has that age vintage look on these, but the base on these shoes is all white leather, and I really like that. I think that's pretty cool looking. I thought that the outsole material and then the back of the swoosh, by pictures I thought that that was a white color, but that's actually a gray. I don't know if you can see that well coming through on camera, but the back of the swoosh here and then the front of this outsole is actually a gray color, and I think it looks really, really nice. I guess before we get into the deep dive of these shoes, I'll go ahead and show you the differences between these and the 75th anniversary Chicagos. So here I've got the 75th anniversary Chicagos. They have that little diamond there at the base of the laces on that little silver accent, and they also have a tag that says 75th anniversary with the NBA emblem there up on the top of the tongue. Obviously these have black going around the heel, and these have red going around the back of the heel. The whole swoosh on the 75th anniversary Dunk Lows is black, whereas we have that split effect on here, along with the split effect on the heel tab and that split tag there on the tongue as well. I also didn't realize that the reds are different on these. For the split Chicago Dunk Lows, this is a varsity red, like this is what you're used to seeing on a Chicago colorway. But on the 75th anniversary Chicago Lows, the red is more of a chili red. And it might not be real evident on camera, but the chili red on these kind of has a little bit of like an orange tint to it, whereas this is just the Chicago red that you're used to seeing on Jordan colorways. But the outsole of these is chili red, so that's that orangish red color, and then the midsole is white with a black accent for the stitching. The outsole for the split Chicagos is gray and then black on the back, but then the midsole is just sail, and the stitching is sail to match as well. And I think I already noted the base leather on these is a sail colorway, so it's like an off-white, but the base leather on the split Chicago Dunk Lows is a white color. And again, this leather feels a lot softer than most GRs, and definitely feels softer than this 75th anniversary pair as well. The 75th anniversary pair has a white tongue with a black border going around the edges of it, and these have a aged or vintage looking tongue with a red piping going along the edges. The 75th anniversary pair just came with flat black laces, and the split pair came with a set of black laces already in the shoe, and then an extra set of white flat laces as well. Then the last major difference is these have a black sock liner, the 75th anniversary pair, whereas the split pair just has a red sock liner. But now that I got that comparison out of the way, I'll go ahead and just do a full review of these bad boys. Like I said, I think they're really, really nice. The leather is definitely softer in hand than what we're used to getting for GR Dunk Lows. They did label this as a premium. It's not as good as materials that I've had on other premium Dunk Lows, but this is somewhere right in the middle. It's not great, but it's not the terrible crap that we're used to getting. So I'm happy with the materials that they put on these. But taking a closer look at this tread pattern, obviously it's the Dunk tread pattern, very close to the Jordan 1 tread pattern. Pivot point in the front, Nike branding at the midfoot, and I think that's a really neat effect, the way it goes from gray to black. And I was also pleasantly surprised when I saw that this is gray as opposed to just being white. From the pictures, I thought that the front was white, but it's definitely a gray color, and I think that looks pretty cool. Then we can see those colors from the outsole as we look at it at the side, and we can see that they meet a sail colored midsole with sail colored stitching, and that looks nice. They definitely came out pretty clean. I haven't really noticed any QC issues with this pair, so that's always nice to see. As we come up to the mudguard and the overlays on the eye stays, as well as wrapping around the heel here, we have this varsity red leather, and it's got a little bit of a tumbled effect to it, but I like that it's not over the top. It's not like that real artificial looking tumbled effect, but it definitely has a little bit of texture, and the stitching on all those overlays matches that varsity red color, and it just looks really, really nice. We also have that varsity red overlay for the heel tab area, and there you can see we've got the Nike branding, and it's kind of split. I like how at the top it's stitching, and then just below that the font is the old school kind of cursive looking font, and it's just like a decal or something like that. But I think that's really neat looking on there. The swoosh, as I already mentioned, goes along with that split theme, and the back of the swoosh is a tumbled gray leather, and that actually feels like a pretty decent material, but we see that for the back of the swoosh. And then the front of the swoosh is a synthetic feeling black leather that's just real smooth. But again, I really like that split effect. It's very unique, but it's still definitely a Chicago colorway, so I think these are pretty cool. The base leather is a mid-grade leather. It definitely feels a little bit synthetic, but it is softer than what we usually get. It's not overly tumbled, and again, I like that because sometimes whenever it's over the top, I feel like it looks fake or just a little bit cheesy in my opinion, but I like the texture that we have on here. But we have some perforations like we always get on the toe box, and then you can also see that white leather for the side panels, and we see it here on the back where we have those rows of stitching like we're used to seeing on Dunks. Like I mentioned before, we have a vintage looking tongue, and it's got red piping going along the edges of it, and we have that split effect there on the label, which I think is pretty cool looking. These do have the black laces already in there. I am interested in seeing what those white laces would look like. They'd probably also look good with sail just because the tongue has that vintage look, but I might throw these white laces in and see how that looks. Getting to the sock liner, this is a red color, and this has the feel of like the old school kind of sock liners. Sometimes we get Jordan retros that have this type of sock liner, and it's not the silky feeling kind. It's got like more of a fleece feel to it. So you know what I'm talking about if you've had shoes with this before, but it definitely has that fleece feeling sock liner, not one of the ones that have like the smoother finish on the material. And then down on the insole, that looks like it's a sail color, and again we see that split Nike branding, and I think that's pretty cool. But that was a pretty quick look at these split Chicago Dunk Lows. I'm really liking this pair. These are better than what I thought they were going to be, and I might even like these a little bit more than what I like the 75th anniversary Chicago Dunk Lows. In the comments, let me know which ones you like. I think the 75th anniversary Chicago Dunk Lows are supposed to be restocked at the end of this month, so if you miss out on these, you might want to keep your eyes open for those. I think they're both really cool pairs, and I might prefer this one just a little bit, but let me know which one is your favorite. I appreciate you all watching. Hope you have a great weekend. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out.